looking.
Sorry?
What do you do? Are you recording?
Yeah, you're on my personal property.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure.
Sure.
Okay, so we are asking you what your plan to vote is, if we're going to do early voting, in-person voting, or there.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so not sure. And then, do you have any friends that you would want us to help you remind to vote this for the election?
No, I'd like you to pass along a message, and I actually have some questions for you. I've answered all of your questions. Do you live locally?
I live in Ormond Park, yeah.
So this is Capitol View?
Yes.
You live in a different neighborhood?
In a different neighborhood, yeah. So we're just...
Gotcha. How about you, sir?
I also live in Ormond Park.
Got it. And are you homeowners?
Yes.
Okay. Are you gainfully employed?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a reason why Reverend Warnock isn't supporting reparations?
Supporting reparations?
Supporting reparations?
Correct.
Oh, I don't know.
But you're here asking me to vote for him, but you don't know that he isn't supporting reparations. Is that right?
Not that I support reparations, but,
Well, why are you voting for a candidate who doesn't support reparations?
we'd like to see, a number of reasons. We'd like to see, public support for people who have lost their jobs and for business owners who have to close. We'd like to see early stages of climate action pass.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like
Access to healthcare for Georgians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a number of issues that they don't necessarily have exactly our views, but we think the world will be better if we move closer to those views.
Don't you find it odd that Reverend Warnock is the pastor now of Ebenezer Baptist Church, who the former pastor was Martin Luther King, who ran the Poor People's Campaign, which basically would be reparations? Everyone's seen the video. We're going to Washington to get our check. You're both homeowners. You're both gainfully employed. You live in Ormwood Park. I'm sure you've seen the gentrification.
Yeah.
You're here with the Sunrise Movement. You're not the first person who's knocked on my door with the Sunrise Movement, which is a green movement. I Googled y'all.
Yeah.
Do you see all the paper? I got this in one day.
Yeah.
How does that coincide with green? Do you see this stuff? Here, let me let people see that. Just one day of stuff. This is what I'm getting. It says vote, but really vote for A or B when he's not supporting reparations. He's a black pastor with a black constituency.
Mm-hmm.
Half of these people have been displaced. The majority of my neighbors, all gentrification, evictions, foreclosures. I have all new neighbors. There are homeless people everywhere underneath our bridges. The unemployment is skyrocketing. Therefore, our crime is skyrocketing. You both have jobs. You both have a house. They don't. He's in the position to do something about it, and we're going to not say that it's a requirement.
Well, I think for me, ma'am, it's really that we know that Senator Loeffler and David Perdue will do absolutely nothing about it.
I know what Kelly's going to do too.
Right.
But why is Raphael Warnock, and why are we not holding him accountable to help his own constituency? Have you?
The thing is, we will hold him accountable.
But he hasn't even said he's for reparations right now, and he's literally in the legacy of MLK. Why is that? Why is his church at Edgewood, where everything else is gentrified, with bars?
Right. No, I understand. I totally understand what you're saying. I've lived in Atlanta my whole life, and I've seen it.
But he's been there over 10 years. He's been the pastor 15 years.
Yeah.
Why is that our best choice? Why isn't someone telling him, sir, step up for reparations? This is your constituency. This is your legacy. Why would we expect more from him if we're not demanding that? And how can you stand in front of my door when you have a job and a home and he's in the position to make a difference? Do you think the Democratic Party is going to tell him no?
No, for what?
If he takes that position right now publicly, he has nothing to lose except for...
That they would tell him no.
Really? You think these 2 Senate seats, you think all the people that have knocked on my door and all the stuff that I'm getting in the mail, and the difference are these 2 Senate seats and the Democratic Party would tell Raphael Warnock no? Really? Please expound on that. Why is that?
Well, I mean, I think it's because that's not a Democratic Party value, unfortunately. Like, for me it is, but I'm not a member of the Democratic Party. I'm just here trying to find the senator that I think I have the best chance of holding him accountable. Like, for me, with Sunrise, like, they know that, we can find, there's always going to be someone that's, like, a better champion for climate, but, like, these 2 are definitely going to be people that we can actually try and hold accountable because they will at least try to be for the people that we have now. There's no hope at all.
The Sunrise Movement fights for the Green New Deal, which I think would, have a tremendous investment and accomplish some of the same tasks as reparations, even though I would prefer a more targeted thing that actually gives reparations to people who deserve it. But it would help many of the people that reparations will also help. And the Green New Deal, somebody who applies to the Green New Deal, they fight for these candidates even though neither of these candidates have endorsed the Green New Deal because they believe that's their best chance of getting the Green New Deal passed within the next 10 years.
But it also
And
doesn't mean that...
those are activists fighting for the cause. You listen to those activists, the organizers who say this is the best chance we have to accomplish our goals. These two candidates won't support these goals.
Right, but in the meet,
We don't owe them anything after this. Like, I'm going to be holding them accountable.
Yeah, we'll be
We'll be out here
supporting
again,
the people that run against them in a primary next time.
We don't.
Right now, we believe that this is our best chance.
to not negotiate before January 5th is the best chance when right now we could actually have someone who would take a position. I had to pick up a man from the street the other day. He goes around collecting cans. I've known this man 10 years. He has no legs. He doesn't have prosthetics. He uses his wheelchair. He fell on a sidewalk right by the Beltline, which is green space, and he couldn't get up. All of his stuff was wherever. His pants were literally falling off. He soiled himself because he was stuck there. He had no phone to call anyone. That man needs a house. He needs a pressing issue. Right next door was the Beltline. There's a video online about it. Completely lit up, perfect sidewalk where he's at. Problem sidewalk where people can't walk to MARTA. They can't walk to businesses. There was no lighting. He almost died, literally trying to get through the sidewalk because he had to go into the street over on West End.
Yeah.
And
Unexcusable.
okay, but we're not going to tell Raphael Warnock, who literally is basically being courted and was given all the resources by the Democratic Party, that this is what's necessary. We're going to say, oh, well, look what Kelly would do? Really?
Well, that's not what
activist groups do attempt to push these politicians, but then right now is time to get out the vote because the election's coming up, and they just think that's the best tactic.
Okay, well, I will not be voting for him. And I think if there were more of us that actually said no, A or B isn't good enough, we might actually get somewhere.
I totally feel you.
Then why do you go along with A or B?
We'll be fighting in the primary for a better candidate next time.
That's the thing is we didn't even really, like, this was a special election, like, for the primary.
There was no primary
There was a
for the
vote,
seat.
you know, but, like, well, there, I mean, yeah, you're right, there wasn't.
The primary was a Donald primary. There was no, like, Democratic primary.
So there was no, like, really.
The Democrats basically handpicked Warnock. And they okay, so if they want the seat, don't you see that part in terms of leverage and negotiation? Don't you see this as the time to demand something?
Right now is the time because the election is coming up very soon. But like the movements that are fighting for him have also fought to change his position on many issues.
Right.
Both of them. They tried to push them into the kind of like policies they do support. But right now, the opinion of the movements, the organizers that work for them, that we're listening to,
Right.
the best tactic we can take right now is to keep Loeffler and Purdue out of office.
Yeah. And most movements I know are full of people who are gainfully employed and homeowners.
Yeah.
So,
Well, those are the people that have the resources to be able to do stuff like this.
correct. So shouldn't we be standing up for the people that don't?
We're trying. I would say that we're trying, but and I feel you because if they win, which would be for me best case scenario for Georgia, they will be held accountable. You know, or I mean, that's all we can do is keep pushing every day. It's not like once if they're elected, then we back off.
How do we hold somebody accountable who hasn't made a statement on it? You can't say, look, you ran on this, therefore you have to produce.
We could say the people that you represent want this.
The people he represents right now are in need of it, and he hasn't done it.
Right, but that's the thing. It's like we have to just keep pushing. You know,
Without a strategy.
I mean,
While people are homeless, defecating on themselves on the street, and we're spending money on greenways, says people who are gainfully employed with a home.
It sounds like we just have different patterns of beliefs to accomplish basically the same goal.
No, we don't. I am not going to go A is better than B or worse than B, and therefore I'll just go along with. No. If there were more people who didn't just go along, we could actually turn around and say, Mr. Warnock, you're sitting in the perfect position to take to stand up for the right thing. It's very clear, right? You've seen this video with MLK where he says, we're going to Washington to get our check. Who's he talking about?
right.
So what's the problem here? How could it not be any clearer?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I would encourage you to push for that with us. Like, I think a lot of people are for reparations.
You're not, okay, but you're standing here telling me just go vote, and he hasn't taken a position, and he has...
I don't need to just go vote. I'm telling you that that's what we're going to do. Like,
Okay.
So I totally respect your view, and I understand. You know, for me,
Many
it's like,
organizers that we know don't vote at all.
Right.
I respect that as well. But like personally, we believe, as well as the movement that we're representing right now, believe that the best way to get to the world that you want to see and that we want to see is to vote these candidates in right now, knowing that they will make marginal improvements, and then if they don't stay accountable to groups like Sunrise Movement that gets them elected, we'll support people who run against them in the primary.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not willing to risk more people. We've already had people die on the streets of Atlanta freezing to death. We've already had people die on the streets of Atlanta homeless, getting beaten to death. It actually circulated in the news. So I'm not willing to risk more people. That's not how I...
So, for example...
Well, you're saying eventually this will happen. Sorry?
My mom for a long time had no health care until she turned 65.
Mm-hmm.
Even though these candidates don't support reparations, they don't support the Green New Deal, things that I think would make a huge change. People do support expanding healthcare access to everyone. My mom, would be a healthier person and live longer if that had happened. That is a marginal improvement that is helping real people's lives, but it's not getting all the way. We just think we need to take some of the steps first, and we actually believe that is a building block to doing the bigger things that we want to see, versus what will happen if we have 6 years of Purdue and Loeffler, where I think that'll set us back further from accomplishing the goals you're talking about. But that's just our beliefs. We don't know that we're right. We think we're right, and so we're trying to get support for people who go support them. But we could be wrong.
As two white people, like you said, and we are gainfully employed and homeowners, we're just trying to at least listen to the people that we believe.
Yeah, we believe in the Sunrise Movement.
To the ground.
Well, maybe the Sunrise Movement would consider calling these candidates and having them take a position that they have every responsibility to take, so that we could have some accountability. Because if they took it, I'd go vote for him.
They do. They've run.
He has not taken a position on reparations. His actual platform on his website, Raphael Warnock, I've read it. The word black isn't mentioned once.
Right.
Don't you find that odd?
I mean, I find it disappointing. Yeah, I don't find it odd. I would say that,
Well,
unfortunately, that's just where we are.
so worse and worse, and I think if we all stood together and picked an option C, or at least had him take a position, we'd be much better off, because the cost of homelessness is 5 times what we're doing now.
Oh yeah, it's so unethical and just
the financial costs.
Yeah, and it also makes no sense. Yeah, you're totally right.
So we're also out here, and the main person on our literature sheets is Blackman. That's who.
Right. So I totally get it.
Yeah.
I know I'm voting for Blackman.
Yeah.
But he's writing. They're writing the coattails of an honest man.
Yeah.
And that
cares that people have power. It is the basics. But it's that's what we need. We need someone that's going to make sure people can afford to live. Or at least make it through until we can get some sort of relief for people. But that's what we'll be pushing. For us, we think giving people things is the best way. And so as people that vote for Democrats, that's what we're trying to push always. It's we need to be giving people stuff. A lot of the things that we probably agree on: reparations, student loan forgiveness, all of that.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. I will not be voting unless it takes a position, not for either of the two.
Okay.
And I mean,
that's okay. We put you down. We marked your information.
Okay.
Has someone from Sunrise been here before? It sounds like they. Did y'all talk, or did they just leave the lit?
No, there were multiple people, but we had a conversation similar to this, and another lady who wasn't local either was here for labor.
For Unite here. Yeah.
She wasn't from Georgia at all.
Yeah. Well, we're from Georgia.
Right. I get it, but...
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot of people national.
They affect the whole country.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that?
Fight for the country as well.
I understand. Well, but what does that tell you?
What do you mean?
What does that tell you that they can't even hire people from Georgia?
We're volunteers. There's no one that they know are hired.
Well, the woman in between, but what does that tell you?
I mean, the reason why I think they're coming down here is it's a bunch of people who care about national issues and are trying to fight the things they believe in, even if it's not fully meeting their values.
Yeah.
What it tells me is that we have a 2-party system that's become a political industrial complex, and you are complying with it. You're accepting it.
Well, we're not accepting it. I would say
you're part of it. You're right here. You're telling me that you understand why he's not, why it makes sense for this person to actually say the word black, it's not a dirty word, and to stand for reparations, and that it's necessary, and that you understand the financial costs, and that it's horribly ethically, but you're still going along with it.
Well, I wouldn't say we're going along with it. We're just meeting kind of what our options are right now, and then our pledge to each other and to our community and our society is to not stop at voting. It's got to keep, like, if these people are elected, day one, we're going to start asking for things, So that is our duty as voters, but also, like, they're supposed to earn our vote, right?
Yeah, the Solar Group is not primarily an organization around electoral politics.
Right.
This is what they have decided is the most important topic of this moment, and then come January 5th, they'll move on to movement building and be involved in that as well.
Right.
Yeah, I've been to these meetings with movement people. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, okay. If that's what the strategy and all these movement people think is a good idea, to wait for somebody to get in office and then renegotiate while they have salaries and they have homes and other people don't, and we're willing to sacrifice, okay. I mean, it's just people dying, freezing to death, or getting beaten on the street, or people with no legs, soiling themselves on a sidewalk and a street that has no lights. That's all it is, I guess. Is that right?
That's really messed up. Yeah.
But we're not willing to do anything except right now and to just go along with A or B.
There are other things. There's many tactics. Like, we give to mutual aid funds, we give to a variety of things. We can give money to people directly to do that.
Yeah, we try to do.
Right now, there's no electoral path to do that. I mean, we voted for and prevented for it as well, but we have to actually be more likely to hold the value of shareholding. He does support reparations. He ran for mayor. We did that for him. There's no one like that running right now.
But why is that? Because the Democratic Party hijacked this campaign and gave all the funds and media to Warnock.
Right.
There are other people. I just interviewed someone with the Green Party. The man is brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, the two-party system doesn't serve us, but
so what?
But that's what I'm saying. I do think that we have to meet them where they're at and then push for more. But that's kind of where
I'm not meeting them where they're at. I do not comply. I will not be there. They need to take a position.
What was your name, just so we mark it right? I just want to make sure.
It's Robbie Caban. They sent you to my house without being on a list?
No, we just have two people, so we want to make sure we're marking you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for talking with us.
Good day.
And we understand. And thanks for your support for Blackness.
Yep.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.